A lot has happened since we last spoke. There aren't a ton of sewing updates, so it's hard to tell what you're looking at here. But this is Janice's bodice. I have all of the edges. I just needed to hand sew this and then put a boning in through this channel. But I need to make a mock-up of a top and the skirt to be able to figure out how much room I need to leave at this bottom part here, so how long this boning needs to be, to figure out how much I need to sew the skirt and the bodice together, and then where I need to sew that boning in so that it stays put. I'm at about the same point for Monica's. Monica's I actually started hand sewing and I sewed in her boning, but I think I'm going to end up having to take it out. So I sewed in her boning. You can see here. But I'm not sure that this is going to be enough space to attach the skirt onto. And then not on this side, but on this side here, I have started hand sewing in, and then I just need to finish it and then finish the other side. But I'm going to pause on doing that until I figure out where I need this boning to end. So theirs is about at the same spot. Megan's I need to wait on a little bit. We need to do another fitting a little closer to. Jenna's is taken apart right now. She needs ties in the back to make the bow. For some reason I thought that I had them when I sewed hers together, and now I can't find them. So I need to cut new ones and put them in. I've also adjusted this panel in Monica's and Janice's so that this part slopes straight into the ties instead of there being let me show you on Mackenzie's, instead of there being this extra here, it will be a lot closer. Let me show you on Monica's. So it all just kind of goes into one, and that'll make it lay a little bit flatter when they have to tie it on the back as well. I wasn't originally going to add boning into these bodices, but I think I just need a little bit of vertical tension in these, or it's not going to lay as nice as I would like. So technically I have this on the mannequin backwards from the way that the pattern reads, and I was so grateful to find this pattern. This is a in two pieces and then has this tie here. If I drop this panel down, there is this corseted part. Now the pattern is written for this to be in the front, so then you would have pockets that would go in this seam when you pull this piece up in the front. I think I'm going to switch this around and then have it be in the back, and then take this pocket out and just have it be a panel to cover. If they want a pocket, I think that I could add it in, add in a seam and then add a pocket in up here. But I think this is a really great option in making it adjustable. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll throw Monica's bodice up on here and then show you kind of what it'll look like. Okay, so this is kind of what it looked like. So the bodice would attach here, like right at the edge of this front panel, which in the pattern is technically this is the back panel. And then this part will come up and cover all of this tie here. And then we'll also have a long tie. And then they can tie it either in the front or in the back. They could have a like a double bow thing going on. But I think this is going to work really nicely. This is what it'll look like. Obviously, this will get kind of attached into this waistband piece. But I do think that I'm going to mock up a bodice and maybe just use this skirt, or maybe just mock up the like waist of this skirt, just so I can see how to attach it properly. But I'm really excited about this. I'm hoping that this will work out really well. And then like with this panel built in, they'll be able to tighten it or loosen it however much that they want. I also sewed in this ribbon to the seams, the bust seams of the bodice, just to give it a little bit more structure. I sewed it on the lining and on the outer casing. I noticed when I was working on Janice and Monica's just like getting the fitting right, and I was like pulling the ties to tie it onto my mannequin, that it was starting to like come apart here a little bit and just like rip apart, because this is such a like thin weave. It was just like super easy for it to rip out in that spot, because it's not it was just like a flat seam. It wasn't a French seam or anything like these sides are, which makes it easier for it to stay together. So I'm hoping that that will also help give it the fabric itself a little bit more structure. I originally wanted to have this project pretty much wrapped up by July, but it is now June 5th, and I still do not have a single dress done. I am supposed to go to Colorado in a couple weeks to fit Annie B in her Flower Girl dress. I am going to do a mock-up in an effort to save a little bit of time working on Annie's base dress. I'm going to use this pattern from Butterick. However, the pattern pieces are going to be a little bit small. Annie would probably need like an 8 or a 10, and right now the largest piece of the pattern is in a 5. So I am going to have to adjust the measurements just a little bit for her. I am trying to figure out if I'm going to make the A style or the C style for her dress. I'm going to add a lot of the beading and lace from my mom's dress onto her dress. So I just need to figure out which is going to be the easier base to add all of that detail onto. Alright, update on my mock-up. So I had used this kind of corset top pattern to try to mock up how I want my top to be, and I tried this on, and I'm pretty happy with this, and I think that this will be a good base to work off of. I have taken apart some of the back pieces. So these are going to be the pieces that I cut out of my mom's dress. These back pieces I won't need, aside from probably to just cut the shaping to be right out of the other pieces. I laid out on my mannequin what the back of my dress is going to look like, but these pieces will be on either side. This will be the center back, of the dress, and then this will go over my like shoulder. This piece I think I'm going to have in the middle here, and then do some buttons to close up at this top part. That I'm not 100% sure on, and I might need to add a little more reinforcement along this edge where it will sew into the rest of this piece. Might need a little more reinforcement, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I just kind of have this all pinned together to keep it together. I also have been working on Annie's. These pieces here are for her skirt, but this is what her bodice is looking like. And then it'll have a tie with a bow in the back like the other dresses. I am a little bit conflicted. I was going to do her back the same as all of the other dresses, but I think it might just be easier to just do a zipper in her dress, have it adjustable with the ties, and then I can just add the buttons along where the zipper is, add a little bit of extra fabric, and then have it go over the top. I don't know about that yet. Or I'll have a panel of a little bit of extra fabric. I'll hand sew the buttons on, and then just have two snaps on either side so it looks like it's buttoned in when it's really not. That I'm not 100% sure on yet, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do or how that's going to look. I think I need to see how this mock-up fits on her and how I like it. If this is like a good fit, then I think it'll be easier for me to figure out what I'm going to do with those buttons. We are also probably going to either buy her or thrift her another just like play dress that she can change into right after the ceremony and pictures and everything is done, so that we don't have to worry about it getting stained or ruined or wrecked. She can just change into something else and run and play with all the other kids and have a good time. I am also thinking that this strap will be made out of the fabric, but then I'm going to work in, and I might have to unruffle this a little bit, but then I think, depending on the size of her strap, that this is going to go around and be her little sleeve. These were like the sleeves or the sleeve tops on my mom's dress, and so I think it'd be really cute to incorporate them in. I was originally going to incorporate some of these bows that I took off my mom's dress into her dress. I still might. I'm honestly thinking about putting them kind of at the bottom of her skirt, because the place that I was going to put them was like right at her waistline, and they're just a little bit too big. Or I was going to do away with the ties in the back and just put this big one that my mom had on the back of her dress. So that I'm not sure about, mainly because I feel like we will need the functionality of these ties in the sides here to be able to fit it exactly the way it needs to be around her waist. I have also determined that this big chunk of skirt fabric that I have for my mom's dress is going to be the first piece that I cut all of our pieces out of for our dresses. It will also be in my bodice, so it's actually going to get sandwiched in between the material that I had from that other dress that I bought just in case I needed more material. This fabric is quite stiff and kind of itchy, honestly, and the other one is not, but the other one I also don't think is structurally sound enough to hold up the like lace and beading and embroidery. So I think I'm going to need that to be able to get all of this detail work that I really want to have on my dress in. I did a mock-up fitting with Lila and Liana, and I'm feeling pretty good about where that is at. The next 2 weeks are going to be really heavily working on mine and Annie's mock-up and then planning out which pieces of my mom's dress we're going to be cutting out and then piecing it all together. Thank you so much for being here and sticking with me, even though updates have been few and far between. There will probably be bigger gaps in between when I give updates now moving forward. I just really need to focus on sewing these last couple months leading up to the wedding, as now I'm in like crunch time of realizing I don't have anything done and I'm running out of time. I'll see you next time.